Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. I'd like us to ask ourselves a very simple question. This matter about the position of Trump.
And the people understand you have to do this stuff a lot. You have to go on television a lot because you can't get a fair shake if you're going to rely on somebody else. They don't understand. They've destroyed the image of media now is at the lowest point it's ever been. It's lower than Congress. Can you believe that? It's something. But together with many of you in the room, we've brought back the fundamental principle that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within.
Does it mean that Trump does not like William Ruto's policy? Or let's just say, does it mean that Trump does not like Kenya? Is it the issue of Kenya? Or it's because Biden favored Kenya? What is happening here?
You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible. Africa is no longer willing to wait on the margins of global governance while decisions about peace, security, and development are made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without our voice. Africa's exclusion is not only unacceptable, unfair, and grossly unjust, it also undermines the very credibility of the United Nations, this organization. Africa dominates most of the Security Council agenda, provides some of the largest contingents of UN peacekeeping forces, and bears the heaviest costs of instability. Yet we remain the only continent without a permanent seat at the main table where decisions about our destiny are made.
The statement that Trump delivered, one that was followed by UN declaration about replacing the Kenya-led mission. This move, ladies and gentlemen, is something that people need to look at carefully. Is this a culmination of the pressure that Rigathi Gachagua piled on the US to reconsider the non-NATO status? Because when Trump surfaced and addressing the generals, Trump talked about the West, you know, that the fact that US has been aligning itself with Kenya matter security, that is a total waste of funds. You know, Trump is looking at this issue of Kenya, Somalia, and the security there, looking at all this. And Trump is carefully analyzing the situation and saying that, how comes we've been financing this for all this time? Somalia, issue of Al-Shabaab, this fight has been going on and on and on, and the US has been doing everything possible to try to deal with the situation. The situation is not that welcoming at all, but the US has been doing everything to try to deal with the situation. Of course, we know that Trump is not going to become the president of US forever. No, he's only having 4 years. The term is 4 years, and it's going to leave office. Most likely, if at all, they will consider this as a second term. It's going to be his first term as communicated by him, because there's a time he said hii itakuwa ni term yake ya kwanza, the other one alimaliza akatolewa. So let's focus on Trump's second term, and the term has ended and Trump has to leave office. Trump has delivered what many people would call a bombshell. And this is enough indication that the relationship between Kenya and the US has worsened. But I will be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I suspect the utterances of William Ruto matters the East. The issue of China, the issue of Russia, those pronouncements he made about, aligning himself with the BRICS issue, those could be the reasons why Kenya is losing. This friendship between Kenya and the US inaisha all of a sudden. I suspect that is the main reason why Trump made that move. But again, if you come to think of this, the moment this message was being delivered, then UN quickly replaced the MSS mission in Haiti with a gang suppression force. And that's the reason why IG Kanja had to issue a statement that they are going to think about the next course of action, whether to withdraw the forces there, police force there, or to reinstate them and have them, collaborate with the new team. But there's a great possibility that this force might be returned back in Kenya.
The United Nations was not created to take humanity to heaven, but to save it from hell.
Well, I suspect this issue of China, the raid on Africa only is enough indication that US is going to lose. Ruto could have made a very big mistake making public pronouncements about BRICS. Those could be the reasons why the US is angered. Again, of course, Chris Coons and Jim Rich, they had a petition concerning relooking at the relationship between Kenya and the US. And if the president has delivered that kind of statement, one will easily conclude that maybe the US is indeed reconsidering its position on the relationship with Kenya. Remember, when Rigathi toured the US, his biggest request was this non-NATO. The things that Rigathi delivered there, of course, if US was to look at Kenya again, there's no way US was going to favor Kenya, because the issues which were being delivered pale zilikuwa ni mambo mabaya. Mambo ambayo, of course, US lazima iseme hii Kenya sio ile inchi kwa tunafikiria, ile inchi ambayo iko na democracy iko juu, hii sio ile inchi. So, if at all US decides to reconsider its position on security, reconsider its position on AGOA, then the thing that we like to ask ourselves, who is going to lose? Is it Ruto? Is it Rigathi? Is it Kenya? That's a very interesting question that you need to rethink. Who is going to lose here? I think the person who is going to lose in this whole drama is Kenya. Assume William Ruto is removed from power through the ballot, and I think it's going to happen. If it happens, let's say by grace it happens, that the person is going to take over the leadership of the country. He will have an uphill task trying to convince the US to again look at Kenya for a second time. You see, it's going to become very difficult to convince the US to now look at Kenya in terms of Kenya, the relationship between Kenya and the US. It will take them years, 20 probably, to again get the US to reconsider Kenya. So the big question is, if this move is what Rigathi wanted, and it has already happened, is it a plus or is it a minus? Because it's already happening. We have seen the issue of AGOA. We have seen the issue of the MSS. Of course, the issue of Haiti, Kenyans didn't support that. It's only Ruto and his team who supported that. The president supported it, but most of us did not support that. In fact, the courts made a pronouncement, but the government ended up doing it. Probably they could have expected that maybe Biden was going to win. So if Biden won, that mission was going to continue na iendelee. Lakini just as Biden lost, his party lost. That's the main reason why Trump came in, and Trump is making changes which are affecting Biden's previous administration, the policies, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, to check 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.